Hello everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. Guys, we've got MTV video here. Back from the weekend's shenanigans, and we're going to go through lots of videos throughout the day. Well, actually later today. I'm just on a quick lunch break right now, and I thought I'd send one out to the masses. Guys, MTV has been relatively quiet the last couple of weeks, but we did indeed reflect around 9 or 10 days ago the aspect of communication improvement with MTV and the aspect of having new personnel on board to help with the marketing and the communication moving forwards. So we're starting to see a bit of that. There's of course the Telegram group which they've launched here, and apparently every Thursday the guys from MultiVac, I think it's where is she? Kathy is the MTV Vice President of Community and Ecosystem lawyer. Very interesting. So every Tuesday, apparently she is available on the Telegram group, which is this one here. So if you do have Telegram, definitely worth having a look at. For sure. I use Telegram a lot. Just be careful of scams and all the other nonsense. Just be careful and always go through the official lines if you can. So it'd be good because I'm going to jump on there tomorrow and I'm going to ask a load of questions and see how responsive that is. Maybe you guys want to do the same, or at least check it out. If you do have questions or maybe concerns about MTV, maybe that's the chance for us all to grab on there. So it's really cool they get involved in that side of things. And last piece of news was like a few days ago, to be honest. Next reward of 1% is only 200 million away. So this is around the staking aspect of MTV. Again, something I don't do personally yet. That is because I'm trying to accumulate as much MTV as possible. So this is 8, right? Times numeral. I'm pretty sure that's 8. Maybe I got that completely wrong, but from what I remember is that's pretty close to number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so that's I believe, the last aspect of staking availability for the rewards. So very interesting indeed, and it's not far off at all. I don't know if that means we've dropped a few, because it does say in here it's only 200 million away, so maybe someone taking their money out. But the other couple of points I wanted to make as well. For those that have perhaps searched for MultiVac recently, there's a lot of, I wouldn't call it FUD, but I just feel like, I don't know, I guess it's been like this for a few months now. A lot of people are still a bit angry and bitter about what happened at the end of last year, and then what occurred throughout the year, which we covered along the way. We have not left MTV. I would always tell you guys if we've exited or something, but for me, absolutely at December last year, because I was excited about this project like many of you out there, and a lot of people sold, and that's absolutely fine. You can do what you want. It's your decisions. But for me, I was like, well, I haven't gone like super mad on MultiVac, but I've got enough in there. I mean, I'm trying to hopefully one day get to at least around 1 million. Just to get one of those nodes when they eventually launch. I think they have to do the audit first before they go to that milestone, but it's probably quite close. So if you can hear the rain in the background, I live in England, so this is normal. So yeah, I'm interested. Why there's so much weird news around, and some other channels like just literally so gung-ho about it, and I don't know whether they were like vested or whatever, but they were all like super excited, and they got me interested as well. And then some of them have been pulling out, and that's again absolutely fine, and it's great. I know a lot of people like get really shirty with some of these kind of communities and whatnot, but I think at the end of the day they are investors themselves, and surely it's better for them to be transparent and open than not at all, and understand, like, we all went on a journey with some of these YouTubers, right? I'm not a massive expert. I have this as a massive interest and hobby. I'm in the crypto space 24/7 because of my work within blockchain and gaming, and I like to talk about it. I like to talk about all the different aspects, the really big rabbit hole stuff, but I really like MultiVac. And I'm sure you guys do as well if you're still here with us. And some of you are sure going to be angry, and I totally understand that because of what's happened over the last 5 months. But I see the improvement, and I'll reiterate what I said in the last week's, or nearly 2 weeks ago's video, is that I'm stuck with it because I believe about them on paper, and the technological aspects of them in their white papers and what I've seen and read. And sometimes, like with crypto, like any investments, of course, any investment is a risk, right? Anything can change overnight. Look at Luna. I mean, goodness me, that was like $114 one week, and now it's like, I don't even know how to say that number, but it's like zero. It may as well not be a number at all. So yeah, I'm not saying MultiVac's going to do that, but what I'm saying is, like, obviously do your own research and everything. But I think, like, there's no one knows the full extent behind the curtains, and you're not going to get that information because, that's negative press, arguably, in some aspects. But secondly, if you're a CEO of a business, I mentioned this point to someone else the other day. I said, like, people are like, why isn't the CEO talking? Why isn't he doing this? I'm like, well, actually, that's probably a good thing that he's not available as much, because it means he's busy. It means he's busy trying to sort out his project and business, right? And that goes for the rest of the team. And that's why I'm assuming that they put that aspect to that message saying, well, actually, every Tuesday, I'll be available as the vice president of community. And that's good, because it means, like, hopefully the rest of the week, I'm sure they have other roles as well, but for the rest of the week, they're hopefully focusing on loads of other stuff about MultiVac, and they're dedicating some time, which is nice, to do that. I try and do that with communities, both the channel and in my work as well. And it's difficult. It's difficult to balance, especially when you get to, like, the higher levels in any business. Time is getting more and more precious, but you try and do your best, and I think they are trying to do that. So yeah, there's a lot of channels saying they got information coming out, and in the next couple of days, I'm like, well, if you got information, just say it. Or are you just waiting for it to come out so you can go say, I told you so, or, oh, actually, yeah, it didn't happen? I mean, just come out with it. Like, if people have information, like if I found out information about MultiVac and I'm like, oh, wow, I talk about this project a lot and I'm investing. And yes, of course, you do your own research. But I know for a fact, like, people out there, they watch these kind of videos and they do their own research simultaneously. And that's part and parcel. So if I ever have an information, guys, like, I will share it with you. Even if you think it's absolutely nonsense, I'll just say, look, I found this, or I know this. Bring it out to the open. Whether it's right or wrong in a few days' time or in the near future is another conversation that you reflect on. But don't sit there doing riddles, because you're messing about with people's minds and money. That's my opinion about all that. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of the advice to other channels. Let's see if we can find the chart for MultiVac, which I will get up very much in a second's time. Here we go. So hopefully you can see this on the screen. My OBS has been messing about recently. A couple of minutes, guys, because I've got to route through videos and I'm coming off the lunch break very soon. It's back to the crypto world. As you can see, there's a couple of things I wanted to identify which are actually quite positive at the moment. Okay, irrespective of this supposed inside information that some channels have, we have had some nice bounces off, or at least two, at the 0.0012 mark. So very much around 0.1%. This is what we're talking about here. So we're not at all really near the highs that we saw in December 2021, which is all the way up here. Can you believe it? Near our 3 cents. And that has been a significant drop. We've been overpurchased in a lot of markets. And obviously the narratives around the world are negative, and there's pretty much a recession going on. So it's not disappeared like everyone said it would. But we are looking on the indicators here on the right side, the 3-month one. And particularly, to be fair, can you believe how fast this year is going? We're now reflecting on the 6-month one based on December. And this is pretty reflective on other markets and assets as well, guys. So this isn't a particularly surprising figure, because it's one that's repeated elsewhere. Around 92%. You couldn't really get any lower, to be honest. I mean, you could obviously go higher than that in a negative perspective. But I feel like the market is just in a bit of a limbo moment at the moment. Is Bitcoin going to come down further? This is why dollar cost averaging is important. For me, I'm like, wow, this is a great opportunity to accumulate loads of MTV really quickly at these lower prices. However, I'm still possibly putting my mind and eyes, and I have got a buy order down here. It doesn't sound like much, to be honest. It's literally bang on the 0.1% mark, to be honest. It's not really that critical difference. But in terms of the charts and in terms of the way things go in markets, it is probably quite significant to many people, especially depending on how much volume you have. And there is a lower aspect here. I don't even know what number this is, to be honest. It's not like a 1/10 of a cent. It's like a 1/10 of a 1/10 of a cent all the way back down here. That would be a bit disastrous if we go all the way down there. But like I said, what's really interesting is touch point here, touch point here. So far, obtaining support. And what I like so far as well is this slight upward trend here, in the sense it came back down to this like 1.55 of a cent. And this is where it currently is. So is it going to do a bit of a shake around like it did here and drop back to retest this 1/10 of a cent area? Or are we seeing slowly, hopefully, a claw up to this area, which, by the way, if you look closely, we rejected here, like the rest of the market did, around the 11th of May, shooting through. However, it pulled itself back up to this area and it shot through. But it was literally saying, we are not ready to come here yet, but we want to try this area again. So we rejected this area literally pretty much twice, really. In fact, 3 times. So this is going to be really interesting. Like I said, are we finding some traction to pull ourselves to this area and test this area properly, or are we coming for one more try down here? Now, as we approach this area, I do think the rest of the market, like Bitcoin and all the other assets, are in a similar position here, where we've seen some good action over the last 40 hours, understandably, because there's a bit more confidence pulling in. Only a small, very tiny amount. But if we come back down to this area, I'd be interested to see what the other assets do. And if this might be the testing ground. As I did say a week or so ago, that Bitcoin probably needs to come and test these, $28,000 to $30,000 areas a few times before we can really say, oh, good, we've moved away from 22 or 24. So we really need to see that. And that's where I think if we do come down to here, we might see the reflections in the other areas. However, we can stabilize for MTV's perspective. This could be really, really interesting, because then as well, I'm just going to draw it in. We can also start to see, if I can find my correct line here. Here we go. If we just look roughly where I've just drawn this orange line across, the reason I put that in there, if I just zoom in, is here. You see this? 4 days of trying to penetrate that line. Around here, couldn't quite do it. So it's this bounce mechanism that I'm interested in, really interested in. And actually, if I pull perhaps this down a bit more here, to a more reflective period of where we saw a recent high area, it kind of confirms that. We're in this like middle ground here on the fib. So let me just remove that out of the way. And look at that. Testing bang on this line here. Isn't that interesting? So that's for me right now. The next couple of days are going to be really interesting to see if we're dropping back down or moving ourselves up. And it's literally because we're hitting this fib retracement line bang on 1.5. So like 1.5 of a cent, 0.0015 for those that are listening rather than watching. So hopefully this makes sense to you guys, like why I'm so interested in this area. That's why I've got the potential buy orders down at these lower regions to try and capture that if it does come back down to even lower. But it is worth, for sure, if you're interested or fascinated by buying like I do competitively with myself, hitting these previous low areas again, where we've already hit twice, that could be an area of interest. But we might see some steady patterns over the next few days. So that's very much around it. There's literally like 3 options here, like there is most of the time, to be honest. Like there's no like science behind this. It's purely like you can see for yourselves. These are where the traders will be looking. This is where we identify the possibilities. So you can literally, from the dollar cost averaging perspective, or looking at areas where, oh, should I just jump in for the sake of it because of the price, or do I want to see 2-3 different areas? They're my 3 areas. Maybe you have a difference of opinion, but that's kind of what I'm pulling out here, and it's really interesting. I think it's going to be still a bit of a while before we start approaching that 0.002 mark, probably a few weeks away from that, provided the market starts stabilizing. This is a really important word. The whole market needs stabilizing for at least a week or 2, in my opinion, before we start badgering the top higher ends. So guys, that's wrapping up MTV, to be honest. Let me know in the comments below how you're doing with your MTV. Are you bagging more? Are you staking still? Are you worried or concerned about any of these other channels saying that some announcements coming out, or what it might be? I think some YouTube channels, I'm pretty confident, will probably do a U-turn on their decision to have sold their MTV. I totally understand why, and it's down to their own decisions at the end of the day. but I feel like MTV could turn a corner sometime this year and for the years to come. I'm not here for this year. I'm here for the years to come with MTV. So keep an eye on this one, guys, for sure. Let us know in the comments below all your thoughts and opinions. And also, do check out our other videos as well. Of course, we have lots of different ones. For sure, by the way, BitTrue, for those who are excited about GBX, that did indeed get listed and it went live this morning. So well done to the voters, including myself, of course. That's great news. But we'll cover that in another video. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.